So now are you ready for a bit of a logos masterclass just to finish this session? Well, here I am on this website called Marchdance, which is a website that I'm working on. If you see that I scroll here, you can see that the logo changes. Now you can see here it's a festival in March, which goes from the 1st to the 31st. So we've designed this logo really to show the 1st to the 31st. And the logo perfectly animates there in a really nice way. But if I just scroll down here, you can see that there's a few cool things going on here. Here's an animation that we've built in CSS and JavaScript showing each artist moving through in the similar kind of logo triangle accents. So I might show this episode later in the Watch and Learn series, so make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel for that. But watch this. So that we've looked at our logo there, and we've looked at our on scroll logo there. But if I come down here, we've got these client logos. Now look at these are all PNGs, right? There's no background. If that had a white background, that wouldn't look quite so good. But I've also put these accents within the pink here. So how have I done that? Well, let me show you now how we make these client logos so they're all nicely aligned. As you can see here, they all just seem to work together, right? So if we jump back into my Figma file, you can see here's a logo that's been sent, which is just a JPEG with a white background. So I need to remove that background and then make these the colors. I'll make this pink and this will be the white accent. You can see the other logos that I made earlier. Okay, well here's our frame. So this is just called frame 1 at this stage, and it's 800 by 600. I like my logos 400 by 300, 4 by 3. Just seems to work. Okay, so if you are thinking about logos, you could have them as square, but you'll find you get all this white space in here. So I like a 4 by 3 shape for my logos, typically anyway. I find, when you look at all different types of logos, a 4 by 3 will generally work. Okay, so that's the first bit of advice. So we know about retina displays now, don't we? So instead of 400 by 300, I've made mine 800 by 600. Okay, so in this 800 by 600, you can see I've this time got a 64 padding, and this is going to be the guide area of where I'm going to drop the logo. Sometimes the logo might be this shape and fall within these lines. Sometimes it might be wide. It will always be contained inside these lines. I don't want anything overspilling into outside of these lines. Okay, so as you know now, I'm just going to click on this, make sure it's locked, and I'm going to go over and click scale. And then I can just manually, just move this down. Now, I know that this is 800 less 64 less 64. So, I could just instantly type in, a size like 600 and something in here if I want to. But I don't really need to do that if I've got the scale on, because I can really just move it to my particular size. Now at this point, if it is hard to see because I've got an image with a white background here, my frame's also got a white background, I could go to the frame, okay, and at this point, just get rid of this other core. Now at this point, I could turn this into a different color. Okay, so I'll just put this as a kind of gray for now, and then we can see our logo in here that we're sizing. So I can just touch this up and make sure that it falls within that line, and maybe change the sizing accordingly. We need to remove this white in the image. So how are we going to do that? Well, if I right mouse click on here, notice that I've got some plugins in Figma, and this is a particularly reliable plugin called Remove BG, and I can just hit run, and that is going to remove the background. So I'm just going to hit that, and watch this, it removes the background. Now the question that you're asking is, where do I get the Remove BG? So I've just thought that the easiest thing to do here is just show you the URL. So it's just Remove BG. That's a very simple install. And then once you've installed it, you might need to restart Figma. But if I jump back to Figma now, I've now got an image without a background. Well, let's explore this further now. What do I need to do to colour these in? Remember, I want to colour this one in pink and this bit in white. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is press R to open up a rectangle. And I could colour the whole thing. I could put a rectangle over the whole image here. Now I'm just going to colour this in pink so we can see that rectangle. So now I've got a rectangle on top of an image. You can see this here, rectangle, image. I could name this at this point like pink rectangle, but I'm just going to highlight both. And then I'm going to hit this. This is what we call a mask. So you can see now that's turned the whole of that image into a pink colour. Well, I could hit R again now and highlight over the word proper. And now I could go and make this our white. And it's as simple as that. So now I could call this frame proper motion, okay, which we can see here. Now on this one, I probably would want to remove this background color, which, as you know, I could simply go down on the opacity, but making sure I've got the whole thing highlighted. Go to export. We want to export it as a PNG. You can see when we do that, our show in exports checkbox appears. Well, I can uncheck that because we don't want that background fill in our export. Okay, so at which point I click export proper motion. Okay, now we talked about a logo on scroll. What if I wanted to make this to be that logo on scroll? What if I wanted this bit to, on scroll to go white and this bit on scroll to go pink? Well, I could just copy and paste, and that's going to give us this alternative. Well, I could go in here to our rectangle and make this one white, and then I could go onto this one and make this one pink. Okay, now at which point I would come back up here and I would call this one on scroll. Okay, and now I can go and export this one as a PNG too. And now I would go back into the logos area, and that's where I would upload the first one as the logo and the second one as the logo on scroll, and that will give us that nice effect that we can see on Alia. Okay, and we can also see on the March Dance website as such. So that's how we manage our logos on scroll, but also our client logos.